Hello everybody, Shelly here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much. Am I blurry? I can't tell if I guess we'll find out in editing when I can actually see it. I hope you guys are doing really well. Today I thought, because this is like a bonus video, right? Hi, welcome. I'm not a professional YouTuber. Professional makeup artist, you know those things. I picked up both of the new Natasha and Denona Glam face palettes. I got the deep one and I got the light one. Why did you get both, Shelly? Well, I'll tell you a couple things. Number one, I love all-in-one type face palettes. Like these things, they're so easy to travel with. They're so easy to kind of just have everything you need. You know that they're going to work together for the most part. I've got a couple duds, but for the most part, I really enjoy kind of having all the products all in one package. Now, the other thing is I couldn't decide which one I wanted to get, and it was actually a good deal to get both of them. So I did get the light one, and I got the deeper one, and I didn't know which one I was gonna like better. I thought we'd just try them. So this is the deep one. I'm sorry, I'm kind of glaring you guys today, but that's what the deep one looks like. And it does look like it might be too deep for me. Sometimes my skin can get really tan in the summer. And then this one's the light one. And these are $59 before any kind of sales or discounts. I did get both of these off of the Natasha Denona website when she did her pre-release. If you are not, sign up. And that's the deep one. They seem very similar as far as like the cheap products and the highlighters. They seem very, very similar. This one's maybe a teeny tiny bit darker. I did take a look at the other shades that were in the palette. These two look very similar. These two look very similar. Those two look very similar. So we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what we come up with. The one thing I paid attention to when she was releasing these is she said that she intended these to be used for a daytime look, like your normal, regular, everyday look. And then what do you do to nudge it up into date night, after hour, cocktail type thing? Which is kind of how I like my makeup. I have a professional job where I want to look put together and polished, but not overdone. And then when I meet my husband for cocktails, I like to go a little overboard. I'm a big fan of a smoky eye. So these are normally $59. I was able to pick up two for $100, so you get a little bit of a discount. About the same as what you'd get with the Sephora VIB sale going on right now, which is the other reason why I wanted to kind of get this to you guys, film it. The other thing I can tell you is that when I purchased it at the pre-order, it actually arrived at my house the day it launched on Sephora. So that was fun. If it is already sold out on Sephora, you could try Beautylish or Cult Beauty. Sometimes they carry them as well, but the Natasha Denona website, that's where I picked up. That's kind of usually where I shop when it comes to the creators' launches of stuff. Unless I know that like the VIB is coming up. And I knew it. That's a whole other different conversation. So I'm going to bring you guys kind of up to speed on what I have already going on in my face right now. I do have the Natasha Denona's Magic Primer. It's actually a very good primer. I didn't get it initially when I've done like face fulls of Natasha Denona products, but then I saw her use it once and I was like, why didn't I ever have that? And then it was on sale, so I grabbed it. Speaking of things that are on sale, I also have been using the Natasha Denona Foundation X, I think it's X Plus. It looks like this. I have mine in shade 4.5N, which right now this time of year, it's maybe just a scotch too dark. We're gonna pretend. I've got an event that I'm going to here soon. I need to get going on this. And I think it's okay. My chest looks a little red because I'm warm right now. We'll have to see. Anyway, this is like it says full coverage fruit complex, full coverage fruit complex. I do have her eyeshadow base on my eyelids right now. Been on for a little while. I just noticed a little crease on it. I have it in shade 02 light medium, I think, or medium light, if you will. And then I also have her concealer on. This one I have in shade 10N neutral. And then I put on a couple of lip products already. I figured these would, I don't know, I grabbed a couple just to try with the palettes. The lip shade I have in is in Noah, and then it's one of her I Need a Nude. And then I also picked up her I Need a Nude Lippy Crayon, and this is in Dana. So these are the two that I have on my lips right now. Figured we'd just play with the products and then kind of just go from there, see what else we need. The way these palettes come, I haven't taken off the protective of the mirror yet because I didn't want to blind you guys. The two face products, because I think they're more of a cream formula, are under a protective plastic protector. And the palette itself is different than her other normal palettes. I actually really do like this kind of bronzy rose gold look. It's more, I would call this one rose gold. The other one's more bronze color. Okay, I'm gonna grab the blush though, and let's see. And again, this is the lighter one. So what I think I wanna do is do a light kind of daytime look and then maybe amp it up for after hours. See which one looks better on me. I suspect I'll end up using both of them, maybe at different times a year, or sometimes when I want to go a little overboard. That's actually a really pretty blush. That, you know, for my skin tone being a little bit more light medium, it's subtle, it's pretty. I think it would work for a corporate environment. Absolutely. Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think that's a subtle blush. I normally tend to go a little overboard with blush. I tend to abuse blush. It's just what I do. I'm sorry. I'm gonna grab some of her contour though. I tend to over abuse blush generally. Most of the time I'm in a corporate environment right now, I'm wearing a mask, so it doesn't really matter too much what the blush looks like. Now that being said, I do a lot of videos for work. Not these kind of videos, actually professional ones. And I do a lot of conference calls where I have to have the camera on, so I could see using this for, you know, a day that I've got work going on. Yeah. Okay, so the other thing in here that's like face product is a highlighter, and this one looks like it's kind of a champagne kind of highlighter, so I'm just gonna grab a fan brush and let's just see. She does like things a little glowy, so that kind of makes sense. And I just flipped the brush over. We're just gonna kind of drape a little bit here. That is a spectacular highlighter if you're a highlighter kind of person. I'm not somebody who normally does highlighter, especially not during a daytime look, but we're just gonna keep going with it. Okay, are you guys close enough? I'm gonna scooch you in a little bit closer. Okay, brought you in a little bit. My camera looks like it's auto adjusted the lighting. Okay, so let's just get through this. Okay, for a daytime look, you know, obviously you're gonna go with probably the lighter colors. She's got these named. I just grabbed the transition shade in the light palette. I tend to keep my daytime looks rather neutral. This is a really pretty shade though. This is almost like a rosewood color. That's what I would call it, kind of a pinky nude. I would use it as a transition shade. Okay, we do have a crease shade in here. Probably too big of a brush, but we're gonna crease, and if it were a daytime look for me, I'd probably also take here. Now, sometimes with daytime work looks, I just kind of keep everything matte, in all honesty. Yeah, those colors, I mean, they're seamlessly blending. They're exactly, oh, I guess I need to do my crease over here. They're exactly what I would expect from a Natasha Denona caliber of quality. There's nothing about it that I feel like is a subpar, or, you know, that she rushed to have some sort of holiday release. This feels like a very solid Natasha Denona offering, along the lines of, you know, like the bronze eyeshadow palettes, the Glam eyeshadow palettes. This particular one has 2 shimmers and 2 matte, along with the highlighter and the blush. Yeah, you know what, for work, I might just leave it simple like that. Mascara, some mask, call it the end of the day. She does have this one shade in here called Inner Corner. Let's just try, we're gonna just grab this one here on the end. This is Inner Corner. Now I think that's probably too glittery for me on a daytime look, because it feels like it has a lot of shine to it. You know what, it kind of buffed out a little bit. Yeah, it's not too overpowering. I was worried when I first put it on that it was gonna be like, oh hey, you've got glitter in your eye, but it's fine. You know what, I might leave it like this just for work. So let's take it up a notch. Let's take it up to perhaps date night. So I'm gonna go in with the smoke shade down here on the end, and I'm just going to build it up on the outside. I do have a little bit bigger brush. This is actually the one that I used for the transition shade. Just going to cut up a little bit, maybe here, because I do like a kind of a smoky eye. This I feel like is also a shade that you could use as almost like a shadow liner, if that's kind of your vibe, is to not do a harsh eyeliner, but to do something a little bit more subtle. I could see using that even during like a regular daytime work look. Okay. Yeah, that kind of, I mean, it's beautiful. It's kind of smoked out. I'm going to take my finger and use this lid shade right here. Wow, it's super creamy. It's called Outer Corner. I don't know that I would use it on Outer Corner. I'm going to actually use it just kind of all over my lid. I think this is what gives it that beautiful date night look, that sparkle. This is like classy date night, and I just took it all the way out. She said Outer Corner, but and so I decided to just go ahead and go over all over the whole area that I smoked out. And I'm just pressing it on with a dry finger. I did not use a damp brush. I feel like it's a beautiful color. So one of the reasons why I wanted to pick up both of these is I'm traveling more for work these days. And I'm getting ready to trip out to Vermont and New Hampshire for a week. Unfortunately, all work. I don't have anything fun planned while I'm out there. Hopefully I'll make more trips and then I'll have a reason to do something fun, but for now it is purely work related. I'm gonna go back into inner corner and just see if I can't bump this up just a little bit. That's pretty. I'm gonna grab the smoke shade as well, and we're just gonna doctor up this outer lash line a little bit more. That's how I would wear it. We're gonna do the same thing over here. So far, so good. I mean, I think that the light palette for me is a very subtle yet polished daytime look palette, and I am not upset by this at all. Let's put some mascara on just to kind of complete up this look, and I'll be right back. For you guys, back, I put a little quick coat of the Pat McGrath Labs Dark Star mascara on. It's a little old for me, so I mean, it's not old for me. I'm just saying it's been open for a long, probably time to move on. But I figured since I was doing kind of a bougie sort of, you know, face full of makeup, I would say that yes, this is something that I could see, especially for me if I had some sort of work event after work, which is not something I normally do. But if I do, I can see doctoring this up just a little bit and getting enough out of it. I don't feel like it's quite as vibrant as what I would normally do for a normal regular date night look for me. This is a beautiful palette. This actually might be one that I put in my bag to go on my next trip. So the light palette, definite win. I do feel like you could probably use this blush in here as an eyeshadow as well, which gives you a little bit of versatility. I do think you could use the highlighter on your, in fact, let's do that. I'm gonna put a little bit of this right here in the center. The highlighter is blinding. It is crazy, crazy vibrant. So I just put a little bit of it in the center of each eyelid just for a little bit of lift. And I like it. I think I like that on my eyelids too. So, okay, you guys, I'm gonna take this off, this part, and I'm gonna come back. Actually, no, I need to take this off too. We're gonna take some of this off, and then I'm gonna come back in with the dark palette, the deeper palette, and see, what is it called? Glam Face Palette Dark. She calls it dark. So I'm gonna come back with the dark palette. Give me just one moment, I'll be right back. Everything else is exactly the same that I had the first time around, except for this time I put in Omarosa as the lipstick and L3 as the lip liner. So everything else is exactly the same as I mentioned earlier, down to the T. So let's get into the deep palette. Deep, dark, dark. I'm gonna have a hard time with that one. Similar configuration, it's got the plastic cover over the cream face product. And this one again has 2 shimmer eyeshadows and 3 matte eyeshadows. The eyeshadows are darker, and frankly, that kind of appealed to me. I'm not gonna lie. But we're gonna start with the blush product right now. And it says that it's cream blush. We got cream blush and a Star Glow is the highlighter. And because it's dark, see, I feel like that's a little better shade for me. So I've applied it, and now I'm just gonna kind of swirl it to sort of blend it in and sheer it out a little bit. But I abuse blush. Now, I think that because I still have that 45 foundation shade on, that's a little bit more closer to my summer skin tone, and I think this blush is more flattering on that. If you are significantly darker than I am, this may work for you. You might have to build it up quite a bit though. I just don't know. I don't know. I need to play around with one of you guys. I need to get a hold of one of you guys and play with some of these products and see what it looks like on your skin tone, because I don't have that reference. I'm so sorry. I don't consider myself particularly dark toned, and I feel like that's a perfectly appropriate blush color for me. But again, I over abuse blush, and I didn't do any kind of contouring or anything. Should I? Maybe I'll just do any bit of contouring. Same contour powder that I used before. Or I could just go on a diet and then, you know, not have to worry about contour. I suppose if I just left my mask on the whole time, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, I do feel like that's maybe a little bit too rich to wear for daytime. I don't know, maybe. Would I wear that color for daytime? I mean, I would, especially in the summer. I feel like this one's gonna give me more of my date night look. Hence the darker, richer version of it. Okay, I cleaned off my brush a little bit that I used earlier, but I'm gonna go in with what she considers a transition shade in here. There's very little kick up. I don't even know why I bothered tapping it. I do expect that it's gonna be more pigmented, so let's just see. All right, probably I would say that the transition shade for me in the lighter palette is like the perfect daytime transition shade, and I feel like this one is actually shearing out. I didn't scoot you guys in. Let me bring you in. You're a little closer there. I feel like I barely tipped into it, and I mean, it sheared out enough for me to use it as a transition shade. I think that if I were using this particular one for work, I would probably just use transition all over my lid and then maybe one of the other shades as my eyeliner and just sort of be done with it. So I'm taking this down a little bit further than, you know, say just a transition shade, but I'm going to go over the top of it with the crease shade. Yeah, if I were going to pick up this one for work, I would leave just this shade all over my lid. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm just a lady of a certain age, doing the best I can with what I have. Okay, I'm gonna go into crease. You'd think she'd put these in order, but I'm gonna go into crease over here on the end. And you know what? Here's the thing with these. I think she does these as guidelines and not necessarily like a hard and fast rule. So for me, crease might end up being the shade I use to smoke out my eyeshadow with. But since I'm going to an evening event, and go ahead and do a darker, smokier eye like I would. And I'm sorry I didn't do like a full daytime look and then switch it up. We're just going straight into here's what I would do if I were just doing it for daytime. I would literally use transition as my all over the lid shade. Call it good. Now I'm just kind of going a little ham because we're going out, and if that's how she intended these palettes to be, go from work to after work, that's what we're doing. And she did call these a Glam palette, but to me her Glam eyeshadow palette was a lot more on the cool tone. Cool, kind of like grayish, true neutrals, not like warm neutrals. Yeah, okay. We're just kind of gradiating down with this. I didn't even really go like true crease. It's more like I'm just sort of blending and moving on. In fact, I'm gonna grab this other brush just a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of buff edge up here a little bit. To me, they've almost blended into the same shade, but that's me not knowing what I'm doing, not necessarily the product. Okay, so let's go into the smoke shade right here, and I'm just using the same brush I used for crease. Wow, that's a really pretty shade. I would absolutely use that for either, again, smoking out like kind of how we're doing right now, or really kind of going, I'm going to take it up a little bit higher just to give my eyes some depth. And if you guys are new to this channel, I really feel like sometimes liquid eyeliners can seem very harsh and dated, and we don't need any help with that. I am dragging that same shade a little bit because I like to connect the top and the bottom. So far so good. I don't feel like it's horribly patchy, maybe just a tiny bit, but again, that could be more my technique than the product itself. We always want to know, is it going to work for somebody who's not a professional makeup artist? And I'm going to say yes so far. I'm going to take what she calls her outer corner shimmer, and it looks like to be a beautiful rose gold, kind of bronzy color. And I think this is one of those shades. Charlotte Tilbury really, you know, kind of emphasizes this shade too as being really beautiful with brown eyes. But I think it's also universally flattering. And I think maybe that's what Natasha was trying to do with these palettes, is do one palette for every girl. You know, like if you consider yourself deep or you consider yourself light tone, and every spectrum within that. So I almost think that while this gives this kind of a beautiful bronzy look, I think the other shimmer in here that she uses is Inner Corner. I think would be a good kind of all over the lid shade. It's a little cooler, whereas this one's like on the warm side. I think that gives you some flexibility. And it could be that the Inner Corner shade in here might be too deep for me with my skin tone. So I'm actually gonna get a little fun here. I'm gonna grab a flat brush and I'm gonna take what she calls Inner Corner, and I'm actually gonna put that right here on the kind of like the inner third. So we'll go from that sort of rose gold to a lighter shade, rose gold, bronze color, whatever you want to call it. And that brings a little light and glamour, I think, to that, which is really pretty. I probably could have just left it alone, but you know, we're trying all of them, and it's good to know what you're working with. But I would absolutely use that shade all over my lid. This one that I'm using right now, called Inner Corner, I would use that all over the lid as well if I were going something less warm and bronzy. Okay, and then here's what I would do. The highlighter in here might be have a little bit too much of a cast for me. Cleaning my brush off, get darker, extra dark colors where I don't want it. Okay, I'm gonna actually take the highlighter and I'm gonna use the highlighter on my inner corner. That's how I would use that. Yeah, okay. So now I feel like I need to do a little bit underneath. I'm gonna go back into the transition shade, which is this lighter brown that's in here. Is that all over bottom lash line? I feel like I have maybe just a little bit of transfer from my old mascara, some of the leave-ins, as my husband would like to say. And because I can't leave well enough alone, and this is how I would use this, I did see that Angelica, she used, and Yeshka, the gal from Sweden, she used this NYX liner, this kind of neon blue eyeliner. I think that might be maybe a little bit too avant-garde for me. I actually have a Dose of Colors, kind of a navy blue eyeliner, and I'm going to use this to waterline a little bit because I do really feel like blue and bronze look beautiful together, but I think blue brown eyes is really lovely as well. And I think this gives it something a little different, a little, I don't know, a little something something, a little like something's not exactly expected. It's not like she's just using brown eyeshadow. You know what? I'm going to take the darker color in here called Smoke, and I'm going to use, I can find my brush. I'm going to take Smoke just out here too, instead of doing another eyeliner connected. Yeah, this feels more Date Night. So I'm running out of time, but I want to tell you guys that my take on these two palettes, if you are similar coloring to me, it just depends on how you wear makeup, where you wear makeup. I feel like the lighter one is great for daytime, great for regular daylight, great in a professional setting. I don't know that I got quite enough drama for a date night look. I think it was okay. I think especially if you were doing like a work function that was after hours, maybe a holiday party through work where you're not with your friends, you're with your coworkers. You know what I mean? You still have to kind of be professional. Ish. But that's how I would do that. I think the light one is definitely one I can travel with for work, and it would give me exactly what I want and give me not quite a face full of makeup, but everything that I would need to get through a variety of situations. So I'm happy with that. The dark palette, that one is my date night palette. Can I use it for daytime? Yeah, I think because I like blush. I tend to over abuse blush. I think that gives me a comfort level for blush. Don't have to really worry about it so much if I'm wearing a mask. But as far as the eyeshadow goes, there's really only 1 or 2 shades that I would wear in daytime for work. The rest I would wear for date night. I'm gonna put a little of the Charlotte Tilbury powder on just to kind of sit down what I have since I am leaving. Should have probably left already. My husband's like, hey, we got somewhere to be. But I knew I wanted to get this done for you guys. Charlotte Tilbury Flawless, Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. So we're gonna put a little of this on. Favorites of all times. You know, in addition to kind of my thoughts on this palette, it is kind of, you know, idea of if you were looking for things on the Sephora VIB sale. I can tell you that my shopping experience with the Sephora VIB sale today was I picked up things that I wanted to try. So I didn't really get a whole lot of replenishments of things, but I used the discount to pick up things that I was curious about that I really wanted to, but I was hesitant to pay full price for something that I wasn't 100% convinced on. The only thing I didn't try in the deep palette is I didn't use any of the highlighter on my actual face. I just used it on the eyeshadow. I think it's probably a little too deep for face. We're just gonna kind of push it into the skin a little bit. I don't have a huge cast from it, and I think what I did put on was probably perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I don't know. You guys, leave me a comment down below. Tell me, were you interested in either of these palettes? Does seeing it in action on a lady of a certain age, does that affect your opinion one way or the other? Would you do the deeper one like I have on my face right now, or would you do the light one? Leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.